What's up, guys? Calvin here at Cal Carfa. For those of you who don't know, back at it with another video. I figured since I just finished washing and waxing my mom's Golf R and my GTI, I might point out some of the differences for any of you guys who are in the market or just interested in random ass videos about Golf Rs and GTIs. So let's get right into it. So one of the biggest things is, first of all, the front bumper. I don't know if you guys can see it, hopefully, but it's aggressive, right? I mean, it's pretty aggressive, and then you come over to the GTI, and it's aggressive, but not as aggressive, right? You have some normal fog lights. Here, you have LED daytime running lights. So that's another big difference between the two. And then pretty much, from the back, they're really the same. Big difference, for people who really have an eye, is going to be the side skirts. If you see, these are nice, but they're that silly plastic that fades, and you have to put tire shine on it, and and then over here you have painted, so it looks a little better, right? Of course, you have your standard, I don't even know, Detroit is what GTI usually comes with, I think these are 18s, but I don't know what the name of those are. And then of course I have the VMRs, but you would have like 18-inch Detroits if you had a standard GTI. And then, coming back here, they're both two-door, not really much difference here. And then you get to the back. And once you get to the back, you'll notice that I have LED taillights. Those are not OEM. And then just take a look at this bumper here. So you see that there's dual exhaust on either side of the car. Now, if you come over to the Golf R, you will notice you have dual center, as well as this, I don't know if you call it painted, but you have this black kind of shiny plastic, I guess you would say. And you have dual exhaust, as well as slightly more compact and sporty looking bumper, non-LED taillights. The spoiler, I'm pretty sure it's the same on both the Golf R and the GTI here. It looks the same. Another thing that I like to point out, I left a little bit of wax right there. Another thing is these brakes. Now, the GTI comes with red brakes. I like that. The 2011 has like 272, I think, and the Golf R has something like 310. So, pretty big difference there in the size of the rotors and brakes. You'll notice that this has black brakes. I wish it came with, red to match the car, but it's a Golf R. I know the R32s had blue. And, of course, the spoke is covering it. Let's see if we can come over to the other side here. A little bit better. But you'll notice these brakes are substantially bigger than the GTI's brakes. And that's because, first of all, it's a sportier model, so you want to be able to stop better. And then also, it has the R logo. Now, they're pretty dirty, so you can't really see it. But once I clean it, maybe I'll add a picture in there. But basically, they're a little bit bigger, a little bit more effective. And they actually really do help. Oh, and my camera. Go back. And then, last but not least, is you have on the GTI, right? And then on the interior, you have one GTI logo. Oh, it's locked, but you have one GTI logo in the bottom of your steering wheel. And then, I think mine's detached, but you don't have one on the back. Now, with the Golf R, you have not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. So, you know, recapping once more, you have R, 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 R. So, they're subtle, but you can tell an R from a GTI. Not to mention you have leather interior versus plaid cloth. And then, you know, one more thing is the GTI is front wheel drive. Now, I would say being stage 2, I'm close to what I think a front wheel drive GTI can handle. You know, without doing, you know, mounts and inserts and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, I really like where I am. And you have an electronic diff where it'll kind of drag one wheel and do, you know, some funny stuff like that. And for the most part, it's effective. But on the GTI, you have what's called a Haldex all-wheel drive system. And it's different from all-wheel drive. It's different from Quattro in Audis. It's basically a front-wheel drive car with the ability, keyword ability, to send power to the rear. Now, you can get controllers that'll make it a little bit more permanent or happen a little bit sooner and faster. But for the most part, I would say it's probably a good like 80-20, or most of the time 100-0, you know, with bias in the front. You know, and then under hard acceleration, hard launches, you'll see that the rear wheels will, you know, start to come up. And, you know, if you take a corner in a GTI and you take it in the R, you know, not only is the suspension stiffer, but you'll feel the rear end kind of helping you through, different from an STI, a whole of a lot different. But you'll feel it, and you know, so it really depends on what kind of driving you're doing and what budget you're doing. You know, because my car new was close to 35,000, and that's fully loaded. And we got the Golf R second hand with 20,000 miles on it. So, you know, it was really relatively new. But again, I mean, here, I don't know if you guys can see behind me here, but, you know, they look a little bit different. And, you know, it depends. Do you want the aggressive lines of the Golf R, or do you want the softer curvature of the GTI? Not to mention you have front wheel drive. If it was me, I would choose the Golf R every time. You know, you have all-wheel drive, you have 50 more horsepower than stock, which right now they're probably very similar in terms of horsepower right now, being stage 2. So, you know, that's another thing. So, I guess that brings it to conclusion. Thanks for watching. As always, this is Calvin from Cal Carfax.